Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the June 11th meeting of the Bismarck Parking Authority. I'm your chair, Jim Christensen. I see all of the Parking Authority members are present in person, including John Berger, Todd Kovash, Jake Axman, and Trevor Vanette. And Mayor Schmitz is with us as usual. We appreciate having you here. First order of business would be public comment. If there's anyone that wishes to comment on the current agenda or the prior agendas, I don't see anyone in the audience. So we can move on to item 2 on the agenda, which is consideration of the minutes from our last meeting, which was May 14th. Any changes, corrections, comments, suggestions? If not, is there a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Todd, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jake. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Now we'll move on to the regular agenda, beginning with the financial statements. And as usual, we'll ask management to kind of point out any extraordinary items or anything else that they would like to point out. Jeremy?
Mr. Chairman, Authority Board members, financials through May and on the income side, doing all right there. No surprises on that end. On the expense side, repairs and maintenance for the month of May was higher. Year to date, we're doing okay, but the bills that came in that we paid was actually from services from H.A. Thompson on some VFD controls and some chiller work at the parkade for work that was actually done in January and February, and we just got the bills now on that. So, and then under the capital improvements, that's the amount of 50% down on the Larson elevator project that will be underway very soon. Reserve account, $3,435,579.50, combined with a checking amount of $349,957.24 for a combined total $3,785,536.74.
We're going to probably spend some of that today. Questions or comments of management? Anybody on the financials? Anybody at all?
Just one.
Jake, go ahead.
Sorry, just one really silly question. So there's a snow removal expense from last month. Was that just a carryover from last winter or something?
Yep. Jake, Authority Board members. Yes, so that correct. That is from actually March services that were paid that lagging on the invoice.
Okay.
No snow in May? I don't recall any. Possible.
Yep.
Any other questions? If not, is there a motion to approve the financials as presented?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Trevor. Any further discussion? Hearing none, would you call the roll on that one, please, Sue?
Trevor,
Yep.
John,
Yes.
Todd,
Yes.
Jake,
Yes.
Jim.
Yes, that motion carries. Item 4 on the agenda is the assessment of the ramp's general condition. Every other year, we have CW Structural do a walkthrough, and they bring big, heavy logging chains and bang them on the concrete ramps to look for hollow spots and some really high-tech stuff like that. So you all have had the report in your packet for a while. If you hopefully you've had a chance to review it. We've invited Derek from CW Structural to appear this morning and kind of walk us through it, and then we'll discuss our options. Derek, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. So yes, as it was stated, we performed a site visit inspection to the 4 parking ramps downtown, the Parkade, Galleria, 3rd Street ramp, and the 6th and Thayer ramp. That was done on May 13th and May 14th in the morning. The 3rd Street ramp and the 6th and Thayer ramp, they're in very good condition. They're maintaining. We did not have much of anything to say about those. Just kind of monitoring a few things here and there. The Galleria ramp, that was looking in pretty good condition structurally. One thing that we're noting is there were significant repairs that were done. I need to check the year, but it was around 2017, 2018, I believe. There was a couple levels that had some significant post-tensioning tendon work that was completed in those ramps. I know it was shut down for a while. So that work was completed, and then a traffic coating membrane was put on top. That traffic coating membrane has been significantly worn away in many locations throughout the ramp, protecting those repairs. So that's one kind of significant thing is we would look to have that repaired and to continue providing protection just with that coating on top to prevent water and chlorides from penetrating through the concrete into the slab. The parkade had similar concern at the yellow level, because we had the yellow level being when you come up the entrance into the ramp, you're right immediately into the yellow level once you pass the ticket gate. And we had significant tendon repairs that were done there, and that slab is directly over the top of the tendons below. And that also has a traffic coating to help protect all those repairs. And that is where it wears away quite quickly at the drive lane and when cars turn to go to the next level. So there's a couple spots there where it's starting to show some wear. So we're just kind of pointing out that should be probably maintained. And then recently repairs were completed on the green level in that ramp with the new traffic coating applied. So like the south half green level is looking in good shape based on those recent repairs. There were a couple other areas, or one other area up on the orange level. There was a concrete beam that we're just looking at. We've noticed some cracks and stuff at the bearing. So we're potentially going to do some investigation on that, or we're looking to have that done here in the future. I guess, sorry, to go back to the yellow level, there was one area that work was completed, and there was one spall that we noticed. And that potentially was like an old tendon that was broken. So what was done when we repaired that in the past, that was completed about 2020. New tendons were put in there, and there's some old tendons that remain, and we believe that one kind of potentially broke and maybe spalled there.
So Derek, if you don't mind, can we kind of question as we go, because there's
Sure.
a lot of items here, we might kind of lose track. But so on that item, the potential spall,
Yep.
what testing, what's the next step to determine?
Yeah, so the next
what's
step, we're
going on in
looking
that
at
slab?
preparing an engineer's proposal to work with Walker Consultants out of Chicago to come and do some investigation. So we would need a proposal from them, and we would need assistance from a specialty contractor to make that excavation, because we are going into a post-tension slab, and it's kind of delicate work.
Is there any radar or ground penetrating, concrete penetrating anything that you can, a machine, so you don't have to open up the slab? I don't know. So-
Yeah, well, that would be used to locate the tendon, but I think what needs to be done is to kind of open up and see exactly what it is that caused it, because right now the spall is not open. It's it needs to be excavated and checked out, and you can kind of see, oh, it's this old tendon that's doing it. That's kind of what we're trying to figure out.
Okay, so
But
possibility is that it's an abandoned.
yeah,
tendon.
I can kind of see still where there was new trenches that were made for the new tendons, and this is located in between them. So it's my belief that it's an old tendon.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. Yeah, so I guess that was the one concern at the yellow level, and then going up to the orange level, there was just a beam bearing. It's right below the roof, so I know water's been penetrating down beside the vestibule, so we're just looking to have some more investigation done there. We did do some repairs on the roof in the past that provided a membrane to help protect that, so that water infiltration may have stopped, but there is some investigation we want to do on that beam too, so. The rest of the items were fairly minor that we noted, just ongoing, things and slab repairs that we potentially would do going forward. The idea would be that we would do some investigation on some of these higher priority items, like that spall at the yellow level, the beam at the orange level, and a condition assessment was done on the entire ramp by Walker in 2020, and that's what we've kind of been putting together a list of priorities to do some work on, and then the parking authority recently approved the green level. That was part of that. So we're just kind of going through the ramp level by level. So what we would do is an engineer's assessment of these areas, and we would try to also at the same time reevaluate some of these other areas and try to put together a list of priorities for the board to consider moving forward for future work, just to kind of keep protecting the parkade, because there are some various areas throughout the parkade where we should just repair spalls and provide some traffic coating protection.
Any questions on the parkade before we move on to the, are you going to move on to the next one then, I would guess, or you're not quite done with the parkade, sorry? Galleria is up next, it looks like.
Yeah, well, the Galleria, I kind of already explained
You did
that. I don't
touch
have a
on
lot
that,
to say
yeah.
at the Galleria, other than the traffic coating should be protected, and we would have Walker assess that as well and put together like a scope of work potentially on how much repair of the replacement of the traffic coating would need to be provided to provide protection for those tendons.
Okay.
So,
Any questions as we go along here, anybody? Okay, keep going. Thanks, Derek.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just kind of looking through here. Like I said at the start, I don't have much to say about the 3rd Street ramp. There's just very minor issues. And the 6th Street ramp, there was not much there either. So, other than the stair tower on the 6th Street ramp, I don't know how that was constructed. There is at the stair tower some aesthetic work at the bottom of the panel. It's not spalling yet, but you can clearly see there's some kind of moisture infiltration going on with that architectural panel. So, just something I've noticed it for a while, but it hasn't really progressed. But I'm just something we're watching. It's not really structural.
Can you do anything about pigeons?
No, but they do spook me once in a while when I'm in there.
Yeah, they
When I
seem
come
to
around
like,
the corner, they catch you by surprise.
they like
so.
the newer ramp.
Yeah,
seems
they
like.
do.
We're working on that. Okay. Questions as we go along, anybody? Okay. Okay. Does that complete your,
Other than that, no, I guess that the board could just be looking for in the future from us a proposal to do this investigation work, and we would also, look to do this condition assessment, because basically what Walker would need to do is they've done a condition assessment. They know some of the areas on each level that would need repairs, but the quantities are kind of what would need to be verified going forward so that bid documents could be developed. So we would try to combine that, like do the investigation, establish a scope of work, and establish quantities so that they can put together like a list of priorities for the board to consider, and then develop construction documents for bids, a bid package to be developed.
okay, and what's the time frame on that, do you think?
We would hope to have something before the next meeting,
Okay,
is
that
what we're
would be-
working on. Yep, for the engineer's proposal, yep.
Do you recall, or Jeremy, when did we do that traffic coding on the entrance to the parkade? Was that
So that would, Mr. Chairman, Authority Board members, that would have been in,
21?
no, 2020, when those repairs were done. It was immediately after, so it would have been late summer, early fall,
So 6 years ago.
about 6 years, yeah.
Okay. Is
I would
that-
just comment, traffic codings last about 5 years.
Okay.
You know, high traffic areas, like the entrance of the parkade is a very steep incline, so vehicles are putting a lot of traction on that. That wears very quickly, so that maybe even 4 years on that portion. But turn lanes and things, you could expect about 5 years.
have the materials or technology improved in the last 5 or 6 years, or are we still dealing with the same product, basically?
I think I'm not too familiar, but I think it's pretty much a similar product. We've been using traffic coding down there for about the last 13 years or so. So
Okay.
I think it's a similar product they've been putting down, and that's kind of what I understand to be the lifespan of it in high areas.
Do you remember what we spent back then on that, just on that item? Was did it 6 figures, wasn't it, 100, or am I way off base?
That particular line item, I don't know specifically. I mean, in a whole, that was only, the drive lane coming in, and then that half portion.
Right, that's right.
And our engineer estimates from prior, as of a couple years ago, for half is roughly 50 to 60,000.
Okay. I'm sure that hasn't gone up.
Per half level, 120 per whole level.
Trevor?
Mr. Chairman, I think we need to do that, because what I'm seeing when I go over to the ramp, the entrance is steep, like
Mm-hmm.
he's saying. I think it needs to be done as soon as we can, because what I'm seeing is a lot, when the vehicles go through there, it's just hard for them in the snow to get up, and then it wears that out.
So if Derek comes back to us at the next meeting in June, or July, excuse me, we may be able to act on something at that meeting, you think?
Yeah, so I would just comment, I think I probably didn't explain this clearly, but, so the green level repairs were just completed.
Yeah.
And part of that, we also did the entrance, like an entrance update on that. So the entrance ramp up to the ticket gate was just completed as far as the traffic membrane.
Okay.
So that is good to go
Okay,
for probably
good.
another
All
5
right.
years. But beyond that, the yellow level is what we're
It's
looking at, beyond the
deteriorating.
ticket gate.
Okay. All right, good point. Thank you. Other comments or questions, anybody? Todd?
So Derek, this consultant from Chicago would come out, and then they develop a scope of work plan, and then you come back next month with the cost?
Correct, yep.
And what's the estimated cost to bring these guys out here?
That's what we're working on. That'll be part of the proposal. It depends on how many, I think we're looking at one site visit, but we would also need the assistance of a contractor because they don't physically open things up themselves, so.
Right.
I don't have to have that off the top of my head. I wouldn't really want to venture a guess without
Yeah.
talking to them, but it'd be similar to what we've done in the past, I think.
Well, Walker still has offices in Minneapolis, obviously. Correct?
Walker?
Yeah.
They might. The gentleman we work with, though, that
In
is very
Chicago?
familiar with the ramp, he's been coming from Chicago.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
So,
Used to be Minneapolis, all right.
Yep.
Other questions or comments? Jeremy, do you have anything to add or question? All right, well, thank you for the report, Derek. We will look forward to the next steps.
sounds good. Thank you.
Get our checkbook ready for that. Kate, do you have anything you wish to enlighten us about for the?
You want other business?
Yeah, we're on other business. I know.
Okay. Chair Christensen, authority members, Kate from the Downtowners, just wanted to highlight a couple things to be aware of that might have some ramp impacts, good and bad. Well, good for you guys, probably all the way around, but obviously there is a construction project happening on Main Avenue. It's a concrete pavement repair project. Oh, and so there's no underground work. It's not a full resurface or anything. They're basically cutting out panels, replacing those panels that are damaged, and doing some other kind of crack sealing and things like that. So it's not a big. They're not going to, tear up the whole surface. That being said, it's all closed right now on one side, on the north side of Main Avenue. So we sent out an email again this morning to our membership and our folks that subscribe to get our newsletter to look at the ParkSmart program. And if anybody's listening, just to know the ParkSmart program is a validation program so that customers can use the ramps. So if you haven't done that already, I did put it in our newsletter to reach out to the parking authority if they need the validation chaser tickets. So also, if folks are listening, just a reminder, we'd love to have the employees that work downtown park in the ramps to save that on-street space, especially the side streets, 4th Street, 5th Street, and so on, for customers so that they can get down there. We would really appreciate that. Quiet rail, the horns will sound when there's construction happening with the signals that are attached to the signals that are attached to the railroad. And so now that those signals are being changed or they're going to like a 4-way stop signal, you will hear the horns sound.
At 3rd and 5th.
At 3rd Street and 5th Street, yep. So 12th Street will remain quiet, but it's, 6 blocks, so you're still going to hear it. So just so people are aware, you will hear the train horn, I think, throughout the whole construction project, unless the signals go back to being tied back into that, into the signals on Main Avenue. So just want folks to be aware of that. A couple there'll be some events at the depot, so we'll keep our eyes on those dates, and we'll send them to Jeremy and your crew. We probably would expect that there would be more folks parking in the ramps for that event since Main Avenue is closed. If folks do know, the 3rd and Main ramp is free from 4 p.m. to 2 a.m., and then it's $1.50 an hour in the other ramps, or a maximum of up to $8 a day. So please use the parking ramps. They're safe, easy to use. We'd love everybody to continue to get good momentum on Main Avenue. We want to keep it through this construction project. The other thing I wanted to make you all aware of is the city of Bismarck is looking, or the MPO is looking at an on-street parking study. And this is looking at areas that have a lot of on-street customer parking, employee parking. And so right now it looks like the study areas, big portion of downtown does go up kind of through or close to BHS because we've got a lot of on-street parking up that way. So that will get underway later this year, and we'll be part of that. We've had some consultants call our office that are looking to bid that and get some information about how things are used, the timing of certain things, like where we have 2-hour parking and loading zones, where we have handicap parking. Is 90 minutes working for us? So we'll probably reach out to you all. They'll probably reach out to you all as well, the consultant, when they're selected, about ramp capacity, what you all are seeing here. So probably just be on the lookout for that. I had a whole list for you. Street Fair will be September 18th and 19th. Just want to put that on the radar. I don't want to say it out loud, and I'm knocking on wood, but I think the construction project should be completed by then. I think they're looking at like September 1st or 7th, so on Main Avenue.
I was going to ask you about the duration, but wasn't it 75 days, I think?
Right.
In the contract, yeah.
And they did, when we had talked earlier, and it was up to the property owners a little bit, but do you want to go faster and have it cost a little bit more, or do you want to go slower and have it cost a little bit less? I think the engineering department said faster, and let's just get this over with. So we will be in the weekly construction meetings with Knife River and the City of Bismarck Engineering, things like that, and we'll be able to get the information out to you on a weekly basis of what they're doing, what's happening, so everybody can prepare for that, for the construction project. So Street Fair, September 18th and 19th, and then the last thing, June 22nd, we'll be out with a bunch of volunteers. We'll be planting and filling in some of the pollinator beds, some that kind of abut your properties. We also worked with Public Works. We're going to be staining the benches downtown, painting the benches downtown just so they look nice. We do that maybe every other year or so. So that'll be a fun opportunity if you want to get out, get your stain on. Come find me. We're going to have a big crew of people out, or if you want to plant some plants. So busy.
Questions or comments of Kate? On the Main Avenue repair project, as you noted, they blocked off the streets last Friday, and Friday and Saturday the parking was gone, and there was no activity, no construction activity. There was no construction activity on Monday of this week. Tuesday of this week, they were saw cutting the joints.
Yeah.
Since then, and today's Thursday, there's no activity again. So what I'm wondering is, can your organization, when you go to these construction meetings, can you talk to, it's Knife River is the general, I believe? Is there some way they can communicate on a regular basis with all the businesses along Main Avenue that are being affected by this and impacted?
I'll ask Linda how they're going to reach out or talk to folks. I mean, we'll obviously
Or
get.
city engineering, yeah.
Yep, well, sorry, Linda Oster and Chris are kind of running that project. Yeah, we can ask them. I think when I talked to Linda earlier this week, if they're not doing work for X amount of days in a row, like 3 days in a row or something, they have to,
Well,
Put it all back.
allow for parking. And so,
well, as of this morning, there's 9 blocks that are blocked off, and there's one pickup truck on one block face. All the rest of them, there's no activity, and people are, wondering why. So,
And
Yeah.
I have a comment here
Trevor, sure.
too, and Mayor Schmitz, I visited with, Transit. They're having issues with this project quite a bit. The transit bus in front of the Patterson, they didn't even know about the project until I called when I got the notice inside the Patterson. So what they have to do now is, with the big paratransit buses, they have to park out in the middle of the road with those 3 signs right on Main Street, and it's kind of crazy. So I would really encourage you, Kate, to talk to Knife River, because it is affecting Fixed Route and Para as well. Just so you're aware, Mayor.
I think a little communication would go a long ways.
Yeah. And when I called Transit, they were like shocked, because I talked to Amanda O'Brien at National Express, and she said, "Thank you for calling. We don't even know what's going on." And this is the same thing that happened with Memorial Highway, too. The board didn't even know that, and they weren't communicating with Transit, and they finally got that fixed last month. One of the board members talked to the City of Mandan, so I think we all need to be involved. I just really feel strongly
Good
there
point.
hasn't been enough communication going on, so I agree with you, Jim.
Well, thanks, Trevor. Okay, Kate?
yeah, we'll push it. And again, same with us. The property owners were all notified that this was going to happen, whether that, matriculates down to folks. Obviously, the Patterson was notified because they got a special assessment for this project. But we have been invited to the meetings from here on out, which is great. To Trevor's point, so there was a big loading zone in front of the Patterson on Main Avenue. That's been flipped, and then now it's on 5th Street. So they've taken maybe 3-4 spots, and that is the 15-minute loading and unloading zone.
Temporary over there, okay.
Just so folks know that there is a accessible loading zone, particularly for folks that are using the Patterson. It's just been flipped onto 5th Street. So,
Okay, that's helpful.
so we'll push. We also were a bit surprised. We thought it was going to be phased in, as what had been.
Phased meaning do a couple blocks incrementally. But
Yep.
One more comment. if
Trevor?
I may. I know it's on 5th, we just have a lot of them that are struggling with walkers and having to walk down there. It's really difficult for some of those residents, so
And there might be a way to kind of deal with that once they finish the north half, when they flip back to the south half, how they could access the front of the Patterson as well, so. For now, just encouraging everybody, please use the ramps, please support those business and property owners that are down there on Main Avenue. It's still not that hard to get a spot, you just gotta either use the ramps or use the side streets, but yeah, it's gonna be inconvenient for some time, but we'll keep you all in the loop each week, and maybe I'll just send it to Jim and Jeremy so that you guys are aware, and
Sure.
we can send that forward
And
to
the
everybody else.
Patterson did do a good job, but they just got the notice, I think, on Friday, because it was hanging down
Oh.
in the lobby, so.
Okay.
Just short notice again,
Yep,
more notice
Communication.
the merrier.
Okay.
Thank
Other business, anybody have anything else? I was gonna ask Jeremy, what's the status of the camera, the entire upgrade that, where's that at right now?
Yeah, it's actually underway, so it has started, but I guess I have to find out what the full scope timeline is. I haven't heard yet, unless Corey has.
But it is underway.
It is, yes.
That's what I thought.
250 foot of conduit hung so far, he told me this morning.
Oh, great,
Okay.
okay, good deal.
Okay. And then, not to be a broken record, but each month I try to bring some sort of an update on discussions that are centered around a possible new ramp in the downtown area. Those conversations continue. There's really nothing concrete, pun, play on words, to report, except that we are still making forward positive progress. Kind of like Trump and Iran, I would say, kind of, no, that's not the
So-
not the right analogy.
So, but I
But-
would like to be.
Trevor?
I would like to be a part of that committee, with the,
Okay,
with that, because I'm hearing a lot of complaints about, we need to do it, because I hear rumors that Sanford, is gonna do the heart hospital, but it'll be 2032.
well, yeah, they have their own schedule, and they have their own plans for their own parking ramp, which is a good thing on that, with part of that project, but we will continue to, we don't have a committee, it's just, right now, it's just discussions, but again, they're positive discussions, there are open lines of communication, and we're all kind of working towards the same goal, so that's my report on that for this month. Anything else for the good of the order? Mayor, you have anything? Congratulations to Mayor Schmidt for getting reelected. Congratulations to Trevor for running. It was good showing there. If anybody else has anything else for the good of the order? No? If not, and if there's no objection, we stand adjourned until July 9th. Thanks, everybody.